I'm David Groninger, and today is Saturday, January the 9th, 2016. Well, that's the first page of one of my favorite pieces by Rachmaninoff, written over 100 years ago. It inspires me, so I play that piece each day, and I also play it because I like to give an inspirational message each day. I ask myself daily, what could I say in 5 or 10 minutes that might help 5 or 10 million people? I write down ideas and I give a talk. And the idea for today's talk is called this. It's the surface swimmer and the deep sea diver. The surface swimmer and the deep sea diver. Now I use these images to represent short-term goals and long-term goals. Now the surface swimmer I use to represent the short-term goal, and because a surface swimmer has the air, the oxygen that he needs to breathe, right on top of the water. So a person who's swimming on the water, he could go like underneath the water for a few feet, but then he's close to the top, close to his source of oxygen, close to the source of supply, to the resource that he needs in order to continue the journey. And again, his journey is swimming along the surface. Well, the deep sea diver also has the same resource of oxygen, but since he's way down 20 or 30 feet, and he might be down there for a while, maybe exploring or doing something, maybe even deeper, he needs to have some type of an oxygen supply to go down with him, or some type of a cable or line or an oxygen supply line down for him. Now here's the interesting thing on long-term goals. I've noticed with myself and with other people that when we fail on our long-term goals, or when we run into trouble, a lot of times it's because we did not do the planning, which included having the needed resources for our immediate needs. See, a long-term planning means long-term, but in order to get to the long, we have to go there by a whole bunch of small immediate steps. For example, we have to keep on breathing. A swimmer, a deep sea diver can only stay down underneath the water as long as he has a continual supply of the oxygen. And also he can't go too far down because of the water pressure. He's going to have a special kind of a suit that will protect him, that will protect his his head and his whole body against the too much pressure or weight of all the water all around him. So these are these two examples: the surface swimmer and the deep sea diver. So when you look at your goals, your short-term goals and your long-term goals, it might be helpful to have a picture of this surface swimmer and a deep sea diver, because you want to ask yourself these questions. In your long-term planning, your long-term goals, what are the resources that you need so that you can go day to day, so you can make it hour by hour and stay on course on a long-term goal? I know people, and I've done the same thing too, we have some type of a long-term ambition, and we make some type of we try to spend too much time at it, maybe get up too early and go to bed too late. We don't get enough sleep, and yet getting enough sleep, taking care of ourselves, is one of the prerequisites or one of the resources needed. Physical health, physical energy, emotional and mental energy. These are some of the needed resources or conditions that allow us to have the willingness to keep right on going. If we're consistently not getting enough sleep, not eating the right kinds of foods, or not getting exercise because we think we don't have time to do those things because we need to devote all of our time toward our long-term high ambition, we're basically kind of robbing from a needed resource, and we're only going to be able to stretch so far, and we're going to kind of spring right back. It's like the person who thinks he can be a deep sea diver but doesn't take any oxygen down with him. So you can go down maybe 10 feet, maybe even 15 or even maybe 20 feet, but you're not going to be able to stay there very long. In fact, if you don't have any oxygen supply, an extra oxygen supply with you, And if your goal, let's say, is doing some type of work, collecting specimens or cleaning the bottom of a ship, or the side of a ship, or looking for sunken treasure, or whatever it might be, that you need to be down there for a long period of time, and let's say it's only 20 feet, if you don't have an oxygen supply or a cable or a line of oxygen coming down for you, if you add up all the time you're going to spend going from the bottom to the top again just to get one breath of air to go back down again, you're going to spend more time in your going up and down there than you're spending down below, and you're going to waste a lot of time. You might even get so discouraged from going uphill and downhill so long that you might even find it's not worth the effort. Well, that was my alarm clock going off, reminding me to keep my talks more succinct. I use an alarm clock to also remind me that at some point in my life there's going to be a final alarm clock go off. I do this to make myself mindful of time management, of to use my time well in a way that satisfies me. So this talk has been simply this. It's a way of looking at your short-term goals and your long-term goals, and it's using the image of like a surface swimmer, that is a person who swims on the top of the water, as compared to a deep sea diver, a person who's maybe swimming way down underneath the water, like 20 feet, 10 feet, or 20 feet, continually. To stay under that for maybe a half hour, you need to bring your own supply, or you need to be connected to a supply so that you can continue to breathe, which is what you need to do to keep on going. In your long-term objectives, look at the short-term needs that have to continually be met, that need to be continually fed, in order that you can have the energy, the nutrition, you might say, the requirements, the energetic needs, the power that you can keep right on going. So that's my talk. It's the surface swimmer and the deep sea diver. Neither one is better than the other. It's just an example to show you that on the short-term goals, you might not need to plan as much because your resources are closer at hand. You don't have to replenish your resources as often. On the long-term goals, you could run out of resources, which could cause you to stop your progress on that goal. It could cause you to become discouraged and even quit. So that's the idea. We have short-term goals, we have long-term goals. Look at the picture of the surface swimmer and the deep sea diver to represent the short-term goal and the long-term goal. So you can ask yourself, just like the deep sea diver needs this line of oxygen or an oxygen tank, ask yourself, what do you need? What do you need in your long-term goals to sustain you, to sustain your willingness, and to sustain your capacity, your capability, your ability to keep on going? So those are just some hints having to do with goals. And that's the end of my talk. This is David Groninger in Seattle, Washington, saying thank you for taking the time to listen.